Hi here. So this is going to be a little bit of a different reading. I'm not finishing up the cycle that I was in the middle of just yet, but I felt called to just do a general message, just to pull some cards and see what comes out and just mix up my format a little bit. I have a couple decks here, and I'm not even sure really what spread I'm going to use. I'm just going to go with what my intuition tells me and just see what messages come through. I have a little bit of an idea, but we'll just see what happens. The main deck I'm going to use here is the Little Prince deck, and this is one I just recently got. And if you don't know, The Little Prince is a lovely little novella about reconnecting with your inner child and sort of embracing the sort of absurdism of life. There's a certain mystery of things that our rational minds try to make sense of, and it kind of takes a little bit of the magic out of things when you get a little too stuck in that mode. So it's a story about really connecting with that mystery and just kind of going with it and embracing that and seeing what happens. And so for a reading like this, that felt like the right deck to use. And I haven't used it on camera yet, so it'll be an interesting new experience. And I also have another deck over here that is another new deck. It is the Midnight Magic deck, and it is filled with all different types of mushrooms and fungus associated to all the different cards in the tarot deck. And so I'm going to pull one of those to get a sense of what the theme of this reading is going to be, and then I'm just going to kind of see what happens. So yeah, let's just see what happens here. Okay, so let's pull one of these first. So this is going to tell us what the general theme of this message is going to be, and but we'll follow it. We'll just see where things go. Try not to be too beholden to it. So let's see what we get. What is our mushroom for today? So let's see. We've got Three of Wands. What mushroom is this? This is the cedar apple rust. I'm not going to try and pronounce that scientific name there. You can read it, but that is our mushroom for today, the cedar apple rust. So it is the Three of Wands, which is a card of sort of expanding our creative potential in interesting ways. You know, taking the birth of an idea that comes from the Two of Wands, whether it's a journey or a project or something like that, and moving forward with it and trying to get some sense of the landscape of what's ahead. There are things that we can't see yet, but we know that they are already set in motion. People say that it's the card of, you know, waiting for your ships to come in, but it's really more of the card of seeing a vista in front of you and knowing that you get a sense of what's there and you know exactly sort of where you need to go along this path, but not exactly knowing what all the sort of things around that path are going to be like. There's, you know, there's hills and valleys, and you don't know what exactly you're going to see in those hills and valleys. But that's exactly the excitement of the journey, right? That's the whole point. And so it's about embracing the things that you can't see and realizing that as long as we keep pushing forward, we're going to get where we need to go. The things that we're looking for or moving towards, they're in the distance. We just have to get through the process for them to unfold in the way that at least we imagine they're going to unfold. Right? There's always some mystery of the unknown there, but that's what we're going to sort of think about as we go through the rest of these cards. I think I'm going to pull one card from the huge tarot deck that's going to be our sort of concluding card. So let's see what that is going to show for us. I'm going to leave this card upside down until the end, and we'll just see what happens. Right. What feels right? Okay, so we're going to pull one. I'm going to leave that right there. That's going to be our conclusion. All right. So now I'm going to pull 9 cards from this deck here. I'm kind of following an old spread I used couple months back, I guess. I forget how long ago it was. I mixed up the Celtic cross spread and was experimenting with something different. So I'm going to kind of follow a little bit of that plan today, but a little less structured. So I'm going to pull 9 cards from this deck, and we're going to turn them over little by little to see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to put 1 here. And there's our first card, the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so perhaps you are hoping to create something in your life long term. You've got some big sort of idea of something you want to create. Perhaps that's the quest that you're on with this 3 of Wands. And you're going to dedicate a great deal of your time and your effort to pursuing this. It may take a lot of time. It may be something that you pursue even for the rest of your life. But this will be, whatever this is, a sort of single focus that you're wanting to move towards and almost make the focal point of your life, is the vibe I'm getting. So kind of, I think what we will see as we go through this spread is an idea of like, what is this journey going to look like as we start with this idea that the Knight wants to put out into the world. And we're going to climb our way down here and see what's it look like by the time this journey has sort of progressed forward, or what is perhaps a way that this could unfold. So that's what we're going to see. So let's pull some of these cards little by little. Okay, so here we have a 5 of Swords and a Knight of Cups. So with whatever this idea is, I think that perhaps your initial methods for making this a reality might not always be on the up and up. Maybe you're so focused on trying to construct whatever this is, to build whatever this is, that you're almost willing to cut corners or sort of move away from things that don't quite align with what you would normally associate as your sort of core ethical code. This is the winning at all cost card here with the 5 of Swords. So perhaps this goal that you're trying to reach towards is almost so alluring that you're almost, like I said, taking steps in directions that almost pull you away from who you feel like you are. We have to be careful about that, because even though this may be a path that you want to pursue, this may be something that you want to create, it can be really difficult to not want to leap as fast as possible towards what you want to create. And if you do that, like I said, if you lose sort of touch with yourself or the connections of the people that are important to you for the sake of achieving this goal, then even if you achieve the goal in the end, it's not going to have the same kind of flavor that you were hoping it would have. You may get to what you perceive to be the destination, but you're going to find it feeling a little bit lacking. And so instead, what needs to be done is this needs to be done with a certain element of heart behind it. You need to make sure that as you are moving towards this thing that you want to create or connect with, that you let whatever is inside of you that drives you on an emotional level be in the driver's seat. Don't let your mind be the thing that's carrying you forward. Let your heart be the thing that's carrying you forward. And that can be difficult because, if you let your heart completely run the show, it's all over the place. The heart doesn't really follow logic. And in fact, it's like we're stuck in the middle here with this Knight of Pentacles trying to do his thing to create his dream there that he's holding in his hand. And he's torn between carrying his emotional world or his emotional life out into the world, or trying to succeed by using his thoughts and his rationality to sort of, force the things he wants to happen in the world. And that's not really a positive way to construct the things you want to achieve, as I've already mentioned. Instead, we need to move forward with our heart, but in a way that is controlled. Remember that the Knight of Cups has a certain level of sensitivity that he can carry into the world that is presenting the love inside of him, but not necessarily in like a chaotic way. Like I said, the heart can take us in all kinds of paths, but if we let it guide us, but we learn some level of control over that, it will help us. It can help you feel a little bit more in tune with whatever it is that you're trying to create. Now, we don't have a king of cups here. We don't have complete control over our heart, because if you have complete control over your heart, it can almost get to the point where it seems almost cold to the outside observer. Here, the level of control that we have over our emotions, it's the Knight of Cups. It's more of wearing your emotions on your sleeve. But again, still having some level of mastery over those emotions, letting them shine out and letting other people see them, but not necessarily, don't be irrational. Right? The idea here, as I said, was we're trying to find some kind of balance in between these two extremes, with the Knight of Pentacles being stuck between Five of Swords and Knight of Cups. Pulling all of that in together, practicality, emotional openness, and rationality, but not to a level of deception or control. That's the balance that's going to help pull us into a closer alignment with whatever it is you're trying to create or put out there. So let's see what else we get. So we're going to see a Page of Cups and an Ace of Swords. Well, look at that. We have a sort of reversal of the suits there. And we're coming down now, we have the Page of Cups. So here is sort of dipping into your creativity from an emotional place. This is there's a sort of childlike innocence and freedom of just, whatever comes out, whatever playful, ridiculous ideas are popping out of your head, letting those be things that can fuel our creative endeavors. And having this be on the other side here, this Ace of Swords is the sort of counterbalance to that absurd, goofy, ridiculous playfulness that we can dip into, is the clarity of thought. The ability to get the proper insights over what it is that we're trying to master with our mind, not in this negative Five of Swords space, but in this positive Ace of Swords space, so that we can take all of that, bring it into focus, and use that clarity to create something really beautiful and hopefully fun, right? So let's see what we have in the center of that. Strength, which is perfectly in line with this idea I'm trying to say of this sense of balancing these extremes. That's the card of trying to get some level of getting in touch with the sensitivity that allows us to be receptive to what other people are going through, but also still being able to have a certain level of strength, in the sense of not being a pushover, coming to the table with our aggressiveness, but not in a destructive way. Coming forward with our ability to speak our mind and stand in our own 2 feet, and put forth whatever it is that we want to share with the world in a way that is going to help others sort of be inspired by that strength, right? You might face difficulties along whatever situations you encounter in your life or your journey, or whatever this situation might be for you. And they're going to throw you off balance. And so the idea is, with the Strength card, is, not ignoring the things that sort of piss you off and the things that make you upset. Deal with the things that are giving you pushback. But when you really learned to temper that aggression with sensitivity, then you're going to be able to really navigate the world in a way where you're in control. You're in the driver's seat, and you're going to shine bright and able to do whatever it is that you need to do to be able to accomplish your dreams. And yeah. So let's see what else we've got here. We have a Nine of Swords, and we have a Nine of Cups. So we have 2 nines here at the bottom. Again, more of this idea of balancing out the swords and the cups here, but now in the nines. So this is things really coming to a head. So as I said, it's like we're setting out on a journey. We're trying to get some control over our emotions. We want to wear our emotions on our sleeves in a positive sense, so people can see what it is that we truly feel and can tap into that sort of honesty that's coming through. We want to be playful, but we want clarity, right? If we're just purely absurd and silly, no one knows what we're talking about. If we are purely logical, then there's not any real expression of beauty or fun in what we're saying. When we balance all those 2 things together, then we can come into our strength. We can start to show our power to other people. And now that we've come into our strength, now we have to really pull all of these things together and create the thing that it is that we need to create. Now, this comes with some level of anxiety, trying to master all of this and bring it into a reality can bring up a lot of fear. It can bring up a lot of questioning, is this right? Am I doing something that's going to be constructive or helpful or good? And that's a challenge to overcome. But on the other side of this is the joy and the pleasure that comes with the success, right? And so it's kind of interesting here that it's almost like these two extremes. It's like as something gets more enjoyable, it can also be more anxiety inducing. And it's almost probably because I get that as we near the sort of end of this path here, as this thing starts to come to some level of a conclusion, it's almost as if we're fearing we're either going to fail, or there's a fear that perhaps this beautiful thing that you're creating, this beautiful thing you're trying to construct and put into the world, could end up being taken away from you. And, the more you have, the more you have to lose. And that's a difficult thing to wrap your head around, because you can get to a point where you're like, well, if I've got so many good things that I could lose, I don't want to lose them. That's going to hurt. But then you can sabotage yourself and never be able to achieve those good things because you're so afraid of being hurt that you take away the opportunity of that being brought into your reality. So it's like everything up to this point is helping us get into our power, helping us learn to develop creative ideas and strategies for like manifesting those beautiful ideas. Then as they come into their final form is when it really gets its hardest. The joy of the completion and the anxiety of the completion both weigh equally on us, and that can really put a lot of strain on what you're trying to accomplish. So let's see what happens in the middle is the look at that, it's more balanced. It's the Two of Pentacles, juggling those two things, trying to understand that this fear is real, but so is this joy. And perhaps the idea here is that both of those two things, those two pentacles, those manifestations of our fears and the manifestation of our joys, perhaps if we carry both of those things together, maybe that can be used as a fuel. Perhaps another layer to our strength comes from realizing that we can't let go of these fears exactly, but we can acknowledge them and we can deal with them and maybe use them as a fuel for creating something as well. The good can help us be inspired by the things that we really love in life and the things we want to share with other people. But our anxieties and our fears and the things that we're trying to run away from can also be things that we can use to fuel our creative endeavors. If you want to, a lot of art is about explaining what you experience to other people in a way that they can be receptive to. And whether that's sharing with other people something you enjoy, or sharing with other people something you fear could happen so that they can perhaps avoid that negative experience. It's all about articulating these two ideas. And so as all of this is coming into a form, as you're trying to take all of these feelings and expressions and create them into something that is bigger than the sum of the parts, having a little bit of all of that all together is going to make what you're creating so much more real, and it's going to make it so much more honest, and people are going to be more receptive to that. Well, let's see what it comes out to be in the end is Temperance. Of course it's the Temperance card. It's the Alchemy card. It's the blending of all of these different things that you're trying to pull together that, different extremes that need to be balanced. If you're too much in joy, you're going to lose sight of the mission that you're trying to accomplish. Too much fear, and you're going to walk away and give up. But if you put those two things together and blend them and get your strength, then that pentacle you were trying to create all along comes down here to the bottom, and it is the art that you're trying to create. Wow, that's an awesome message. I didn't know where, like I said, I didn't know where this was going to go, but that is a fantastic sort of conclusion to this strange reading that I'm trying here. So for the hell of it, let's pull some cards from the shadow deck. We always pull cards from the shadow deck. Let's just see what we get today. Let's see if we got any subconscious things that need to come out, any further clarifications or anything like that. All right, let's see what we get. One more good shuffle. What will the shadow deck tell us? the Sun, the Six of Cups, and the Queen of Spheres. I mean, that's lovely, right? So the Sun is this light, this joy, this clarity, putting our focus into things that are going to help us create whatever this Temperance card represents for you, whatever project you're working on or thing you're struggling with. This is the message that, take all of these energies that may be pulling you in different directions, put them together, and you'll have the power of the sun sort of fueling this, whatever this is you're creating. With the Six of Cups, I think this is representing taking past success and past joys, past memories, and adding that into this cauldron of whatever it is that you're trying to cook up, or whatever journey you're going on. Pulling all of that together. And the Queen of Spheres is learning to do the work of actually manifesting from all of these past experiences, taking all the things you've learned, all the things you've done, and sharing those with other people so that not only can you enjoy the creation that you've made, but you can let other people also experience that beautiful idea or memory that you have created along the way, and letting yourself be like a tree that guides other people, the little saplings that are growing underneath it. And in what you don't see coming from the shadow deck is the Wheel of Fortune. Take a spin on that wheel and see what happens, and you never know, maybe something beautiful can occur. You just have to follow your intuition. And I think another sort of hidden message here is that following your intuition and not knowing where it's going to take you, if you trust that, you might be surprised where it ends up taking you in the end. So I hope this was helpful. Like I said, this is a little different from what I normally do. I might try to do more sort of open-ended readings like this, maybe experiment with different spreads a little bit more, but I am at least going to finish off the current cycle of readings using the Celtic crosses I've been doing, and so those will be going up at some point. But yeah, again, I hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed this. And as always, if you liked this, please hit the like button. If you have any feedback or anything you'd like to share, please leave a comment down below. And if there's anyone you think would enjoy or benefit from this or any of my other videos, please share them as you see fit. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. So I hope you have a great rest of your day.